In this tutorial, we will see how we can run C and C++ programs in Visual Studio Code. We will see how we can download and install the C++ compiler or the toolset. Then we will see how we can install the VS Code. Then we will see how we can set up the VS Code in order to run C and C++ programs. Now let us see how we can easily install the C++ compiler and debugger, which is nothing but the entire toolchain on Windows 11 computer. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to open up any browser that is installed. I have the Microsoft Edge browser. I will open it up. In the URL bar, we will enter the website address as winlibs.com, and then we will hit the enter key and we will open up the website. Now here we can find the details about this particular website. It provides a standalone build for GCC and MinGW W64 for Windows. Here we will straight away jump to the download section, and here we can find a lot of download options for Windows operating system. We will install the latest version. Here at the moment when I'm making this video, the latest version of GCC that is available is 15.2 and MinGW W64 version is 13. That is for the UCRT runtime, and here we will download with the POSIX threads. And since I have the 64-bit operating system in here, under this Win64, I will click on this zip archive for the GCC latest version. So once I click on this zip archive, the download will begin. We just have to wait for this download process to complete. Now once the download is complete, we will click on this folder icon. It will open up the folder where the downloaded files are saved, generally in the downloads folder. Now what we have to do is we have to extract this downloaded zip file. So we will select this file and then we will right click on it, and then we will find this option called as extract all. And once I click on that, it will ask us to select the destination folder for extracting the files. Here we will click on this browse, and then here I will select this PC, and then I will select the C drive, and then I will click on this select folder. Now you can extract it wherever you want, but here I'm extracting all these files to the C drive. After that we will click on this extract. Now it will begin extracting the files. We just have to wait for this process to complete. Now once the extraction process is complete, it will open up the folder where it has extracted all the files. If you remember, in my case, I have selected the C drive to extract the files, and that's why it has opened up the C drive. And here we can find a folder called as MinGW 64. Now if I open up this folder, then I can find the bin folder. If I open up that, then here I can find a lot of programs. For example, we can find GCC, G++, GDB. All these programs are present here. Now the problem is, if we want to use these programs from any other folder in this file system, then we have to use this entire path in order to access them. So right now, just by using these program names, we can't access them. For example, I can't just use GCC or G++. Now in order to solve this problem, what we will do is we will update the path environment variable with the location where these programs are present. So what we have to do, we have to get this particular path. In order to get that, we will go to this top navigation section, and then we will left click in our mouse. Once we do that, it will highlight the path like this. Then we can right click and then we can choose copy. So now what we have done is we have copied this path where these programs are present. Now the next thing that we have to do is we have to update the path environment variable with this path. For that, we will click on the start button, and then we will search for edit the system environment variables. We will click on that. It will open up the system properties window, and here we can find environment variables. We will click on that. Now here we can find the user variables and system variables. Here under this user variables section, we will select path, and then we will add the value that we have copied. For some reason, if you don't have these user variables, then you can update the path in system variables. So here in this user variables, I have selected path, and then I will click on this edit, and then here a new window will appear. Here I will click on new, and then I will paste the path that I have copied, and then I will click outside, and then I will click on OK, and then OK, and then OK. So now we can close all other programs. What we have done is we have downloaded and installed the C compiler and the debugger, and then we have updated the path environment variable. Now finally, let us make sure that we have done everything properly. In order to do that, we will click on the start button, and then we will search for terminal, and we will open up the terminal app. If terminal is not there, you can use the command prompt also. So here we will type in GCC space -- version, and after that we will hit the enter key. Now what it does is it will use the program that we have seen in the location where we have installed the GCC, and then it will run that. So here we can find the version of GCC that is installed. Similarly, we will perform G++ space -- version, and then if I hit the enter key, we can find the version of G++, and after that we will type in GDB space -- version, and if I hit the enter key, we can find the version of GDB, that is the debugger, that is installed in this computer. Now instead of these messages, if you get any error message stating that this program or command is unknown, then it means you have done some mistakes. So you have to watch this video again and you have to solve that mistake. Now let us see how we can download and install the Visual Studio Code on Windows 11 computer. So the first thing that we do is we will open up the browser. Here I have the Edge browser, and I will open it up. In the URL bar, we will enter the website address as code.visualstudio.com, and then we will hit the enter key and we will open up the website. Straight away we can see the option to download for Windows, and we will click on this download option. Now the download will begin automatically, so we just have to wait for this download process to complete. Now once the download is complete, we will click on this open file. It will open up the Visual Studio Code setup window, and here the first thing that we do is we will accept the license agreement, and then we will click on next, and then it will display the location where VS Code will be installed. We will not change anything. We will click on next, and then we will click on next, and here we will check the option which will say add open with code context menu to files and folders. And after that, if you need a desktop icon, then you can click on this create desktop icon. I don't want the desktop icon, that's why I'm not gonna check this. After that, we will click on next, and we will click on install. It will install the VS Code. We will wait for this process to complete. Now once this installation process is complete, here we will check this option which will say launch Visual Studio Code, and then we will click on finish. It will launch the Visual Studio Code. Now here get started with VS Code option will appear. Now here if you want, you can set up the AI features using Copilot for free, but I'm not going to do that. And then here for choosing the theme, I'm going to click on this browse color themes, and then I will select modern dark plus. Again, depending on your choice, you can select a different theme, and after that we will click on this mark done, and that's it. We have successfully downloaded and installed Visual Studio Code on Windows computer. Now let us see how we can set up the Visual Studio Code in order to run C and C++ programs. Now here, in order to demonstrate this, I will use the C programming language. For C++, you have to follow the same process. Now before getting started, I will get rid of this chart window. I will click on this toggle chart, and the AI chart window will disappear. Now the first thing that I will do is I will create a workspace. For that, I will click on this file, and then I will choose save workspace as. And now we have to go to the location where we want to save the workspace. I will go to desktop. In my desktop, I will create a new folder, and I will call it as C programming. And after that, inside this folder, I will save this workspace, and I will say C workspace. Okay. And after that, I will click on save. Now we can see the C workspace is active. The next thing that we do is we will add some folder to the workspace. For that, I will click on this file and then I will click on this add folder to workspace. Now I will go to the location where I have saved my workspace, desktop, C programming. Now inside this C programming folder, I will create a new folder. So I will right click new folder, and here for these folders, we can give the names depending on the project that we are working on. For example, if you are creating the C program to calculate the area of a triangle, maybe you can give the name as area of a triangle for this folder. Now here I'm just showing the example, and that's why I'm going to call this folder as example. And after that, we will select this folder and we will click on this add. Now you guys may see a pop-up window stating that do you trust the authors of these files and folder? Click on yes. Now here it says restricted mode is intended for safe code browsing. Trust this workspace to enable all features. We will click on this manage and then we will click on this trust. Now once we do that, this message will disappear. Now I can close this workspace trust. Now we will click on this explorer icon, and here we can find the workspace and the folder that we have added. Now inside this example folder, I will create a file which will contain some C code. So I will select this folder and then I will click on this new file icon, and I can give a name. For example, here I will say hello world.c. This file will contain the program written using the C programming language. Now this file is opened in here. Now here, before writing any code, we will install some extensions. For that, I will click on this extensions, and here we will search for C, C++. Here we can find the C, C++ extension. We will install this. It is created by Microsoft. So we will wait for this extension to install. Now once this extension is installed, we will install another extension called as C++ extension pack. It is also developed by Microsoft. We will install this also. Installing this C++ extension pack also installs the C++ themes. So once these extensions are installed, we can click on this extensions tab and we can hide this, because we have installed all the extensions that are needed in order to run C++ programs. Now the next thing that we do here is we will create a simple C program. Now here, this is a simple C program that I have written. I'm not going to explain this in this video. If you need explanation, then I will provide the link for that tutorial in the description box. You guys can check that out. Now after writing this program, we will click on this file and then we will click on this save in order to save the file. Along with that, what we do is we will click on this auto save option to make sure that whenever we make any modifications to the file, it will be saved automatically. So now the last thing that we do is we will see how we can run this program. Now in order to run this program, what we do is we will go to the top right section, and here we can find an icon like this. We can find a down arrow. If we click on that, we have two options. One is debug C++ file. Second one is run C++ file. Here we will click on this run C++ file. Once I do that, for the first time, it will ask you to select the compiler. Here I will select the compiler that we have installed. If you remember, it is C, MinGW, bin and GCC. So once I click on that and once I select that, for C programming, the terminal window will open. The program that we have written here will be compiled, and we will get to see the output of this program in this terminal. Now here, if I open up the terminal, then we can find hello world, which is the output of this particular program. Now finally, we will update the VS Code to use specific C++ standards. In order to do that, we will click on this file and then we will click on preferences, and here we will click on this settings, and here in this user section we will search for C++, and in this extensions section, we can find C, C++, that is the extension that we have installed. Here we can see a lot of setting options. We will scroll down in here and we will look for CPP standard. Here we will select the latest one, which is C++26 for C++. For C programming language, we will select the C23 for C programming language in this C standard section. So after that, we can close this settings tab. So now we have properly set up the VS Code in order to write and execute C and C++ programs. For similar videos like this, subscribe to the channel.